Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, I'm finally looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super KEFLA, Super Saiyan KEFLA to be precise. And the reason I haven't reviewed this before is that even though I do buy all of the Dragon Ball SH Figuarts, and I review all of them other than Kid Chi-Chi, and I guess I haven't reviewed Launch yet either, I can't stand this character, and as far as I could tell, the figure was bad. So I just didn't get it until now. I finally got it. I know when it came out, some people were saying it's the best figure ever, as is always the case with new releases, because people want to be the coolest person who has the new thing. And sometimes it's true, though. It's the best figure ever, I guess. Maybe. But also I heard other people saying it was terrible, and I'm going to let you know right now, we're about to review it. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands, not counting all of the hair spikes, roughly 12 centimeters. I'd say that's about where the head would be. And that's going to make it about 4 3/4 inches. The way I do the measuring is for scaling purposes. I guess it doesn't really matter how tall the hair is, because that doesn't determine the scale. Okay, and if you're curious how it stacks up against other figures that you might own and feel sad about, it's about that high compared to that one. Alright, so let's do a quick question of the day. I'm going to get the fanboys upset with this one. How bad of a character do you think KEFLA is? I think she's easily one of the worst characters in Dragon Ball history, and there are some real stinkers. It's not exactly known for its depth of character development. And this one had none. It's got to be the worst shoehorned in character I've ever seen, and to me it's just the fact that people like it so much is just a testament to how much people who watch anime like girl characters. I think that's all it is, honestly, and I think that is also what's coloring people's opinion of the quality of the figure, but we'll see. Maybe it's great. We're going to review it. So let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. First things first, the proportions are nowhere near accurate. I know some people say they are, but they are not. And I will find screenshots and show you that the head is really big and the body doesn't fit it properly. It's just weird. Really weird. That aside, there's not much going on here. It's mauve or burgundy, some kind of purpley plastic, and then skin tone plastic. The skin tone's relatively shiny, the purple's not, so that's okay. The gold is painted nicely on the gauntlets. The boots are painted well enough, so that's okay. The face is painted good. I'll definitely give them that. I think that's well done, though it's very flat and big. Like I said, the head's way too big, and it works for Kid Goku and Krillin and those kind of figures to some degree, but for this one it looks really weird. I do think the metallic green paint on the hair is pretty nice. I like that. You guys can decide if you like the metallic or not. You know I prefer non-metallics, but if you're going to do it, this does look good. The earrings are painted really well, so that's cool. And then the off-putting, the weird ponytail thing back here does have some paint on it to give you the little hairband. So it's just a very basic figure. Especially for being a PB exclusive, it's a good thing they included some effect parts, because the figure here is just really cheap. It's really cheap. There's no paint on it other than a few gold bits here and there, and it's just blah. There's no shading, there's no nothing. It doesn't even look good. Like, it looks very cheap. Very cheap. So aesthetically speaking, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. The proportioning throws it off a lot. If it was like really well sculpted and then looked cheap, I'd give it like a better rating. But the only thing that actually is really well sculpted, and it's only kind of, is the abs on this figure. So I guess that's okay. It's just blah. It's so blah. Her head's huge. Okay, on to the accessories. We have 3 different face parts. We have the smirking one that comes on her in the package. We get the teeth showing one, and then the yelling one. They're okay. Like, they're painted well, but still the sculpt is weird. For hands, we have the 2 fist hands that come on her in the package. Then we get a weird hand, I don't know what that is, pointing finger hand, a set of open hands, a set of wide open hands, and then a wide open hand with a peg on it for her fireball of doom. I don't know what it's called. So we get a red fireball, so that's cool. It looks like the same as Frieza's kind of, but it's not. I don't know. We have alternate arms for the crossed arm pose. That is okay, and they do swap out well enough. And then lastly, we get a set of effect parts with hands connected to them for ease of use, I guess, and they're pretty well done. We have the red fading to yellow. One side's kind of dull, one side's kind of glossy. It's okay. Be super careful of taking them out of the package. They are wedged in there so tight that one of my spiky tips broke a little bit, and I had to kind of mush it back into place. So that's a big bummer, but otherwise it's pretty good. So accessory wise, she's not bad. I will say definitely could use a flight stand, but otherwise accessories are good. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for accessories. Can't fault the accessories. Okay, now let's talk about the articulation. You would think it'd be pretty good on such a basic figure. Like, there's nothing to get in the way of the articulation. It should work fine. Should being the operative word. We do have a ball hinge in the neck, but if you're going to do one, this is the way to do it. It's a big one. It fills in the whole neck, and it gives you good range without popping the head off or anything. So that works nicely. You get your rotation. All of the angles and radiuses are lined up on this one, so that is fine. If they're going to do it, that's the way to do it. So I'm okay with that. Double ball peg would be better, but this is perfectly acceptable. For the shoulders, we have the butterfly joint that just kind of moves around. I think it's on a ball peg, but I can't quite tell. I can't see in there. Then we have the shoulder ball hinge, which is not part of the sculpted shoulder. The sculpted shoulder is a cap, which I always hate because it always looks bad and it doesn't afford as good range as it would otherwise. So you do get the arms up to horizontal, but that is it. You can't raise them any higher than that unless you rotate them around. But then even then it's iffy. Things are binding and bumping into each other, and it's just not a good idea. There's way too much going on for such a basic design. This is over-engineered to hell and back. It is, that's a weird phrase I probably won't use again. That's just not that's not necessary at all. Make the shoulder part of the joint. Every time, the shoulder sculpt should be part of the joint. You'll have better range. And the butterfly joint on this figure it's a little iffy anyway. Like, you don't get any better range. Other than it's farther back, so the boobs aren't in the way as much. But it's like almost worthless, so that's a bummer. Shoulders are not good. You get your bicep swivel out of the shoulder. You get your single jointed elbow, which works well enough. That's fine. No problems there. Wrists are on little ball hinges. That's good. Upper ab joint feels like a single ball peg. Leans really far back, so I do like that. You just barely start to see the gapping, which is inevitable because there is a gap there for the joint to function. So I'm okay with that. It doesn't lean forward for crap though. Almost no range forward, so that's weird. I mean, I guess it's good to be able to lean back for some really dynamic poses. Like that kind of pose, like a flight or a dashing pose. You know, something like that. But also leaning forward is important, so that's a bit of a bummer. Side to side is also really good, I'll give them that. So it's like halfway really good and halfway not good at all. Lower abdomen or lower torso, just another single ball peg. That leans forward and back nicely. Side to side, also really good. Waist twist is average because it's an oval. So yeah, that's like halfway really good, and maybe it's like 3/4 of the way really good and 1/4 of the way really bad. So that's iffy. The crotch piece is a floating hard plastic piece. I don't think I've encountered that before on any figure ever, but especially not on a Bandai figure. And she has just like a Y for the hips, like Figma style hips. So it's one peg that goes into the abdomen and then one into either leg. And so they are very limited. You get just 45 degrees out of them going out to the side, and going forward, you get virtually no range. Like, it's terrible. They go back a little bit because she has big butt cheeks to hold them in place. And that's it, like very, very limited range. Yeah, I'm not wrong about that. I thought maybe I was wrong about maybe they're hinged ball pegs or something, but they're not. And when you bring the leg forward, by the way, it scratches the plastic apparently. So that's nice. Thigh swivel is there, it's okay. Single jointed knee works well enough, but it's pretty ugly. We've seen way better single jointed knees than that. It's like this figure was an afterthought. It's pretty bad. What the heck? It's so basic and bad at the same time. Basic should be simple. This should, like, it's a basic design. It should be so easy to articulate it, but they've done a pretty terrible job in some places. Ankles go back and forward well enough. It's a ball hinge, so the ankle rocker is fine. And the toe hinge is appropriately placed, but not very well executed given the big cutout right there. So yeah, this figure does not articulate very well at all, other than in the abdomen, and then the neck is okay. So in that sense, the abdomen's one of the better ones we've seen, I guess. But the rest is just average to bad. And given the lack of aesthetic quality, I'm not thrilled with this. I'll give the articulation rating for an SH Figuarts figure and a PB exclusive at that, a 5 out of 10. That torso is not going to make up for the other things that don't work well. The hips are terrible. That's going to impede posing a lot. The knees don't pose great. They're pretty ugly. Shoulders are bad. The rest is okay. So it would have been an average like 7, but there's too many problems. And the good torso doesn't matter if the hips don't work, so that's a bummer. Okay, final verdict on this release. I am not tricked into liking it because it's a female, because it's just a cartoon character and it doesn't do anything for me. If that's your thing, hey, that's your thing. but I have to do reviews here, and this figure is a bad character, and it's a bad figure. And so I'm not even counting the character part, I'm just trying to bother people because I think it's a terrible character. But it is a bad figure too, so I'm gonna give it a final rating. The accessories are awesome, generally speaking, they're pretty darn good. But that's not enough. So it gets a 5 out of 10. For the price point, no freaking way is this worth it. Great accessories don't save a bad figure. And the fact that it's a bad character on top, I'm just going to keep throwing that in there. If you want to leave a mean comment, Dragon Ball fans who love this character, you can do that. Because the algorithm loves it, and I love the algorithm. Okay, so yeah, not great. There it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.